is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. We are live right now, streaming all over Tinternet on our website, motorsport.radio, on the Facebooks as well, and on the Twitterers, and on the YouTubes as well. And to prove we're live, all for the rest of the show, you can get in touch with us, which is fantastic. And we've got lots and lots and lots of things to discuss. We've got a bit of MotoGP, I suppose, to get through, which is kind of pertinent because we probably should talk about the MotoGP. But that's not the biggest thing that we'll be talking about for this weekend, because coming up this weekend, it is the big finale of the big showdown in BSB. We will have a full rundown with us, and here to talk about it in just a moment will be our bike expert, Kiko Alexander Giles. He will be on the show with us. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in to us, and please do get in touch with us as we are sharing this stream all over the place. And we are on Facebook, on the Motorsport Radio Facebook page, on the Motorsport Radio Twitter, which is at msportradio, and loads of other fantastic places as well. The Motorsport Media YouTube channel, and the Motorsport Radio. There's too. I should make like a huge big list of different things that we should. A big hello, by the way, to everybody who's currently tuned into us live right now on the Motorsport Radio website, and also a big hello to everybody tuned into us via Kiko's Facebook group as well. The unofficial MCE British Superbike Championship Facebook group as well, and a big hello to everybody tuned in as well who is. I guess listening or watching as well via the Motorbike Today or Motorbike Live, Motorbike Daily Facebook page. Messed that up, didn't I? Anyway, but here he is anyway to discuss with us the fantastic BSB for this weekend. It is Kiko Alexander Giles. Hello, Kiko. How are you?
I'm good. Hectic day all around, but we are here. And what is not to look not.
That's easy for you to say.
What's not to look forward to? We got there in the end. What's not to look forward to this weekend, because it's the final round of British Superbikes. That's not the good thing. That's actually a really bad thing. But when we leave on Sunday or Monday, we will know who the British Superbike champion for 2017 will be, and what an incredible year it really has been. 10 winners, 16 different podium finishes, young riders coming good, new race winners, new manufacturers winning, their new bikes winning, nationalities winning. We've had it all in this 11 rounds that we've so far gone through. We have Brands Hatch to go. Anything could happen. It really, really could.
We've got some big news as well. Well, kind of not. There's not been nothing massive happen this week, as I'm sure you already know if you already keep abreast of all the bike world news and such. But the bits of news that there is, Kiko will tell us about in just a moment. And yeah, we'll talk BSB. We'll save, I guess, the best till last. We'll talk about that in a bit. And we want your comments as well, and disagreements as well, because Kiko will say some things, I'm presuming, and you might disagree with him. It probably won't happen. Kiko's usually bang on the money with he's got his finger on the pulse of the people's popular opinion, and everyone loves a bit of Kiko's forthright opinions. Especially the teams tuning in as well, and some of the people related to the teams who, yes, I'm sure Kiko will not mention anything to do with Brexit, any riders who predicting to not get podiums this weekend. They're the two main things that Kiko's kind of not allowed to talk about.
Well, I can't remember what. I probably got something wrong last time about Assen, and then probably got something wrong again about MotoGP. So, you know, I, as you know, have a great track record.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. So yes, we will get on to talking about the. Shall we do the whole news first, and then we'll dive into some MotoGP, which is this weekend at Motegi. So without further ado, then here is Mr. Kiko Alexander Giles with some news.
Yeah, first news came out today actually. World Superbikes, there has been change. Oh, hang on, let me just sort my camera out. There we are. There's been a change in rider lineup at Honda for next season. We was all under the impression it would probably be Stefan Bradl as at least one rider, and after his good results, Davide Giuliano. That is not the case. Leon Camier has signed for the team. Now, I knew that at the start of this week, but it was officially released today. Leon Camier has signed for the Red Bull Honda team. Now, that is one rider confirmed. That is one more seat taken. But it also means there's another seat opened up at MV Agusta. The Italian marquee want to expand to 2 riders for next year, for 2018. We now know that Leon Camier won't be one of them. So who will it be? I'm not so sure. There's some strong rumours about maybe it being Loris Baz on his way back to World Superbikes, or maybe even Stefan Bradl, and it'd just be a straight swap between Leon and Stefan. We don't know. But World Superbikes, obviously great to see Leon Camier back for another season, although I'm not so sure how competitive he will be. Very important to understand this. Honda is a development project. They have different engine builders, actually, and engine tuners to what they have in British Superbikes. And having spoken to Jason O'Halloran at the start of the year, that's how I know that. So maybe that might be why they've been a little bit less successful. I'm not so sure. We will find out next year when Leon Camier does decide to ride for the team. But as far as that is concerned, that is the only major news coming out of World Superbikes. There is strong rumours now, and I've been told off from around 6 or 7 different people, that Sylvain Guintoli has absolutely signed for the Puccetti Kawasaki team. Him and Toprak Razgatlioglu look like they will be teammates next year for the Italian squad.
But that's not officially confirmed, is it?
Not officially confirmed, but many of my sources are saying the exact same thing.
I did see something online last week, an article which kind of suggested it was confirmed, that bit of news, but if you're saying it's not, then I'll trust you and think
it's not absolutely not. It may well be true a little bit, but the rumour I've heard is that Sylvain Guintoli had signed and he's now looking at trying to get back in with the Bennett Suzuki team, because he's won a race now at Assen, so he knows that bike is capable. Unfortunately for him, it looks like he's already signed for Puccetti Kawasaki, so Sylvain Guintoli will not be in the British Superbike paddock next year, according to my sources.
So, talking a bit about, is that all of the news wrapped up then? Is that it?
Oh no, there's a little bit more, but Are
we going to keep that for later?
We can do a little bit now, actually.
Okay.
Carl Ride makes his return to the British Superbike paddock this weekend, sorry. He's split with the Puccetti Kawasaki team, actually, funnily enough.
Oh.
Been struggling all year, really. Had a couple of good results at the start of the year, but it's just not been amazing for him. He's coming back. He will be riding the FS3 Kawasaki. Billy McConnell's still out injured, which is a disaster for him. Puts his plans for next season in jeopardy too. I'm a little bit surprised that James Raspoli hasn't been called up, because he is the Team Stock 1000 rider. But again, I will be talking to James Raspoli over the weekend, so we'll find out more about that then. But Carl Ride comes in. Taylor McKenzie is still injured. He is not riding this weekend, so a bit of a disappointing end to the 2017 campaign for him. He's replaced by Richard Cooper, which I find very strange, because Richard Cooper, of course, is still in that battle for the National Superstock 1000 Championship. We'll have a look at the tables later, I'm sure. Apart from that, there's Jenny Tinmouth is returning for the Super Sports. She's riding 2 races there. She's been penciled in for this round. Fraser Rogers, who parted company with the Morello Kawasaki team 2 rounds ago, he is also back in the paddock this weekend, the last weekend of the year. Not sure where, though. I had my suspicions about it being at Halsall Racing, but that's been confirmed as absolutely not true by the team. And I also now believe it may well be the McCann's team on their new R1 Yamaha, which Arthur Sissy's rode for a bit, and obviously Taylor McKenzie started on at the start of the year. so it may well be there. Fraser Rogers making a return. Apart from that, in Supersport, it's all a little bit scarce. We know Joe Francis is back this weekend. That's great from him. Obviously, he has been out since Cadwell Park after effectively suffering a broken back. I sat down and had lengthy chats with him at Alton Park, and he was going to ride at Brands Hatch no matter what. That was the absolute definite situation that Joe put himself in. He said to me he may be able to get back out for Assen, but it was absolutely not happening, really. The team never considered replacing him, which is great to hear. Stefan Housel, the son of Martin, who's team manager there, so they never really thought about replacing him because it's not fair, and I can absolutely see that point of view. So Joe Francis is back this weekend, I'm not sure if he'll be fully fit, but he's been spotted doing a track walk today, so obviously he's up and about. He was walking when I saw him, so he's absolutely got his eye in, and hopefully, although it doesn't look likely, obviously with his injuries, but hopefully we can see Joe Francis take maybe a podium or even a victory. He hasn't won yet in the Supersport class, so that'd be great to see as well. British Superbike news, there will be more news coming out throughout the weekend, I can tell you that, but for now I'm waiting confirmation from many a team. We will be talking to loads of teams about plans for next season. So as far as that's concerned, there's not too much more to report. As we know, Christian Idden will be staying at Tyco BMW or Taz Racing BMW next year. We're not too sure on what their title sponsor will be. We're hearing rumours that it may be changing. We obviously can't confirm that. But overall, there's not too much more breaking news.
We have had, I think it was earlier today, actually, Keek, or it might have been yesterday, recently anyway. Unsurprisingly, the calendar, the provisional calendar for next year has been released. It is provisional, subject to confirmation, and there's no real big, massive shocks, really. There is one slight change, but that was out.
Yeah, it all starts again at Donington Park. As you can see there with the graphic, starts at Donington Park, same weekend as it started this year as well. Then it'll be Brands Hatch Indy. The Alton Park ground is around 3. The asterisk there signals I'm guessing it's going to be a bank holiday. Snetterton 300 moves forward. After, as you can see, there's about a 5 or 6 week break between Brands Hatch Indy and also Snetterton. That's for the accommodation of the TT and the Northwest. We then return to Snetterton, then it's on to Knockhill. Those two have been swapped round for 2018. After that, it's Brands Hatch GP. We go on to Thruxton, Cadwell Park, Silverstone is the final round, like it was this year. Silverstone is the final round before the showdown, and then it's Alton Park, Assen again, and Brands Hatch GP. So that is the provisional British Superbike calendar. Obviously, some dates may change or be tweaked, or some rounds might be swapped to accommodate other events going on around the world, because obviously we're dealing with a British Superbike Championship, but it is watched across all of Europe. So that's great to see that they've got that out. People can make plans. It's great for the teams to know what they're doing for next year. The season is actually more or less the exact same length as it is this year. No additional rounds, no return of Croft, no return of Mallory Park. They never looked on anyway. Rockingham was obviously never going to come back, but no round in Ireland either. So very much similar, very much the same for 2018 as far as the calendar is concerned. Like I say, the only change really, Snetterton 4th round, Knockhill now the 5th.
Yeah, I don't think that really. I don't think that's really going to affect people's plans unless people have already purchased hotels or planned for certain things. I don't know, to be honest. But it was kind of as we'd already kind of expected, really. Your personal highlight for next year, which particular circuit are you most looking forward to going to, given that you had a bit of a nightmare when travelling? That was for MotoGP, wasn't it? Yeah, you didn't actually go to Assen this year, did you?
I didn't go to Assen this year. I may as well have, though, because if I stayed in Amsterdam any longer, I would have been out there for the British Superbike. So the one I'm really looking forward to, and that's because it holds a couple of special memories for me, really, Knockhill. Really do like going up to Scotland and going into the other part of Europe. So Knockhill will be a great little long weekend away from me. I've got a nice little hotel in the town centre. I should get that booked ASAP. But Knockhill, again, it's always one of my favourites to watch on telly. I used to live in Scotland, so I kind of feel like it's a second home. But
really, I didn't know that. Where did you used to live?
I used to live in the northwest of Scotland, Isle of Skye, so well out of the sticks. But that answers the question that I put out as an article earlier in the year: should not kill stay, or should it go? Obviously, it's staying, and I'm quite happy that it's staying. Actually, I am a fan of the circuit. I think it's a great little circuit. Facilities are a little bit left to be desired. I think that's a general feeling from a lot of the paddock. But it always throws up great racing, and you cannot take that away from the Scots. It's a fantastic event, and one I will look forward to going to in 2018. One small tip: if you are staying at 29 Bruce Street Rooms, I think the hotel is called, they have a jacuzzi bath. Do not press the button before you fill it up, because otherwise you'll do what I did. Do that, flood the bathroom, flood downstairs, and everyone will have to leave, and you don't want that.
Kiko!
Yes, I know. I know.
Why do I get the feeling that you kind of get some sort of international incident always kind of happens wherever you go? I feel
I'm just walking trouble.
Whether it's wandering about in manufacturers' back rooms that you shouldn't be in Italy, or somewhere else, or doing something else naughty. But yeah, if you like the if you're a big fan of next year's calendar, or if not, we want to hear from you. Well, what do you think about next year's provisional BSB calendar, starting off at Donington and ending once again at Brands Hatch, where we will be this weekend, and Aston, the penultimate round, as Kiko said, and it's kind of almost no change. So what do you think about that? Is it a good thing? Could we be going somewhere else? Should we be going somewhere else? And maybe we'll have a bit of a debate about the brand new proposed, anyway, or the brand newly proposed, which seems to be going ahead, Northern Irish track as well, which Kiko might have a couple of opinions on later in the show. So that is kind of the news. If that really is everything, we will come back to BSB and talk about this weekend, obviously.
Yeah.
But for now, it's swiftly moving over to. I should, by the way, before we get to launch into MotoGP and everything, I just want to say a big, massive hello to everybody tuned in online as well. And if this is your first experience of Motorsport Radio, then hello and welcome. You're more than welcome to join up to our website, motorsport.radio. That's the web address. And we have, I'm just trying to scan a couple of comments as they're coming in throughout the online streams that we've got here. A couple of Facebook comments, as is Kiko. Apparently he's also doing that. Richard Few says, where do you think Tommy Bridewell is going next year?
Question. I can tell you quite categorically that there will be no offer from Team WD-40. We know that's not going to happen. I spoke to Brent, and it's not the team have fallen out, but the results haven't been results that they needed. So I've been told there will be no offer. I believe Tommy Bridewell will end up on a BMW. Not sure it would be Tyco, because he didn't exactly help his relations there last time. I'm predicting Smiths. I'll say Smith to BMW. There is no evidence to support that theory, but I do believe Smiths are a great team. Tommy Bridewell is a great rider, and, hand in hand. He may end up at Tag Yamaha. That's, again, another possibility. Tag. We will come on to Tag very soon, because I cannot say how good that team is. Tiny little family-run team. And they privateer, no factory help, and they've made it to the showdown. They could still win the championship, and it's not unrealistic either. What an incredible performance that's been from them. I cannot rave about them enough this year. Fantastic. But again, Tom Bridewell may end up there. He may end up at Smith's BMW. There's a ride at Honda. There's loads of rides still going, but realistically, there's only 2 or 3 that maybe would be tailored to Tommy Bridewell. We will see. I'm sure I will try and find out some more information across the weekend. So
to answer your question, Richard, we don't know, basically.
No,
we have no idea.
Smiths, though. I will predict Smith's BMW. So
that'll be wrong.
Yeah.
Carl Stewart's been on. Hi, Carl. Thanks for tuning in to us live. He's not a big fan of the calendar. He says, Brands 3 times again. Rubbish. Do we have an opinion on that?
A lot of people say this, and a lot of people, quite rightly, might have an opinion, because if you live in Scotland, then you've got to travel all the way down to Brands Hatch and back, but no one's telling you to go to Brands Hatch. Don't forget, a lot of people have problems, not so much with the GP circuit, because the GP circuit's fantastic. It's I personally think it's the best circuit we have in this country. The problem people have is the Indy circuit, and this is talking to teams, again, riders. A lot of people just totally dislike the fact that we go to sub 1 minute laps, circuits with sub 1 minute laps, because you have so many laps and you just catch back markers. I am not against going to Brands Hatch 3 times, and I like the Indy circuit. It's great for fans. So, like I say, the calendar hasn't changed. I'd like to see Mallory Park come back, but realistically, that's never going to happen. I'd love to see Croft come back. Realistically, again, that's not going to happen. So we still have a mega calendar. We still have a great 12 rounds, and we will have a great grid, and we will have some brilliant racing, the best in Britain across all forms of motorsport, I'd argue. So the circuits, I'd say, are fine. If we're going to take Brands Indy off, we have to start taking Knockhill off. If we're going to take Brands off on safety or because we go there 3 times, we'll have to take a round of Alton Park off. But then what you do by doing that is you're taking rounds off, the championship becomes smaller, it doesn't really work, people get bored because there's not enough racing action, and then, you know, we have all the implications of that, and then people like Stuart Higgs can't win no matter what. So I'm fully in support of making it 12 rounds. I don't personally have a problem, but I can see why others people do.
Well, Kevin Cox has chipped in regarding the calendar, and he said he'd like to see the BSB back at Croft, as you said. Perhaps that might be a replacement for one of the Brands rounds, maybe?
Yeah, there would need to be a lot of investment into Croft, I believe, to get that up to standard. I'm not saying it's impossible. But
what's wrong with it now?
Facilities, I'd say. Can't say that's not my opinion. A lot of people have told me that facilities are the problem with Croft. The circuit itself is phenomenal. It's a brilliant track. Got everything. Small, low-speed corners, high-speed corners, kinks, long straights, chicanes, S's, hairpins, tight first turns. It's got the lot. It just needs a little bit more investment in infrastructure, and you'll be fine. You'll have a great meeting. It's a great circuit.
Same can be said for Knockhill, though. I mean, you said it earlier. Facilities there, perhaps.
Yeah. Knockhill's facilities are not terrible. I wouldn't go that far. From a team's perspective, maybe they are.
Sounds like you're walking a tightrope of trying not to slag them off too much.
No, because at the end of the day, you know, when you go to somewhere like Brands Hatch, which has first-class facilities, and you go to Stetson, which has first-class facilities, and then going to Knockhill, you kind of think, oh, we could do a little bit more here. But, again, Knockhill has a fantastic circuit. It's my favourite circuit on the calendar. Some riders absolutely hate it. They hate the track. But I like it. It's action-packed. It's short, sharp, and it always throws up good racing. And at the end of the day, that's what you go there to do. It's very difficult because the pit lane is so small. But then, if we're going to say that, why do we go to Cadwell Park? We know what you'd end up doing is actually thinking, oh, what we'll do is we'll go Donington Park, Silverstone, Donington Park, Silverstone, Donington Park, Silverstone, and it'll just be 12 rounds, 6 rounds of Donington, 6 rounds of Silverstone, and that's boring. So
what about 3 rounds at Brands, though? Isn't that? I mean, doesn't that kind of drift into your Spanish MotoGP argument that there's too many tracks in a certain place?
No, because when you think about it, Brands Hatch is an iconic circuit. It always provides great racing. The Indy round is just another variation of Brands Hatch as a venue. It's still a circuit. It's not everyone's favourite, but it again throws up good racing year after year. So the facilities at Brands don't change just because you go to the Indy circuit. You still got the same pit lane, the same awning spaces. You've still got the same bottom paddock, the same bars are open. It's just obviously you don't need to go down the back end of the circuit, down near Hawthorns and Westfield. You just use the original circuit. So, no, I don't have a problem with that. My argument with Spanish circuits in MotoGP is that you have arguably 2 that are actually any good. Don't like Valencia. It's great for fans, but unfortunately it's a go-kart track for bikes. And Aragon is in the middle of nowhere. The facility is quite poor. Although, again, it's a bit of a carnival feel, and it is Marc Marquez's home circuit. It's not quite like Misano is to Valentino Rossi, but it's not a million miles away. So again, it's very hard. It's a difficult subject because you have to be put in the organiser's point of view. You have to fill the rounds up. You have to have 12 rounds, really. Circuit of Wales not coming off is a bit of a disappointment. Obviously, that would have been used, and I'm sure the circuit that we will talk about later on in the show would have been used. But will be used. But we have to make do with what we got, and what we got is brilliant anyway. So
yeah. There's. I mean, I don't think. Well, we're certainly not complaining about it anyway. It's all good here.
Yeah.
A couple. Just reading a couple of comments. It is fascinating because we like alternative opinions. This show isn't just about what Kiko thinks. You are allowed to get involved and disagree with us. Please do. It makes for great, entertaining radio. Ryan Garside's been on a couple of times. A couple of interesting comments from him. He said they should sack off Brands Indy and go to Anglesey, and also he thinks that Brands is only there 3 times because of money. I presume it's because he's making the link between MSV. It's their thing with the brands, and that's Brands' thing. And it's easy. They could probably get more ticket money for going to Brands and such, but that's what Ryan thinks anyway.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, you could go to Donington Park twice because they have an alternative circuit.
Yeah, a bit of a loop.
They could flick right and left at the end of the back straight, but what would have been a Dunlop Bridge.
I don't know. Tell us your. I mean, we could literally talk about all this. All. I
thought we was getting on with Grand Prix anyway.
Sorry. You guys, you sort of distracted us all from the MotoGP, which is this weekend. It's at the Twin Ring Motegi, and it's what round in the calendar is it? I forget now. It's
round 16.
That's the one. Top of my thing. Are we going to watch it live? Are we going to stay up for it, knowing that we'll be like super tired if we do?
Well, if I do, I'll have to hope that 1, there's good signal at Brands Hatch in Tent, and 2, my phone lasts long enough, because if it dies, I can't do any interviews across the weekend, which is a disaster. So I have to think tactically here. But no, the Japanese Grand Prix, of course, has been at Motegi now since 2004. It went from... Motegi has been on the calendar since 2000, since the turn of the century, turn of the millennium. But that was as the Pacific Grand Prix, because at the time, Suzuka was the occupying circuit for the Japanese Grand Prix. Since going to Motegi, it's not a circuit I'm a particular fan of, really, but I'm not a rider, so I won't know too much about that. But it's thrown up some great races before. 2010, Valentino Rossi took on Jorge Lorenzo for 3rd place in the race. That was a great race. Some titles have been won there too. Casey Stoner in 2007, Valentino Rossi in 2008. You had, I believe, Marc Marquez last year, and also Marc Marquez in 2014 took the title there, I think. So, all in all, the Japanese Grand Prix is massive for the manufacturers. Of course, you've got Yamaha, you have Honda, and you have Suzuki. 3 big manufacturers there. It's big for the riders. It's a massive market in Asia, so it's really important to the organisers. But also, it tends to throw out half-decent races as well. So, Japanese Grand Prix is synonymous. You have to go there. If I had it my way, I'd have it at Suzuka, but we've got Motegi. Could be a lot worse. Looking forward to a good weekend of action.
I think if you had your things your way, or if you had things your way, a lot of things would be different.
Yes, very different.
So, not necessarily for the better.
I'd do away with jacuzzi bath straight away, and I'd promote black pudding.
Right, yeah, the British, the Black Pudding British Grand Prix. It will, the MotoGP British Ram will forever be called. Kiko's Black Pudding and Fry Up British Grand Prix.
Yes.
Is what we'll call it from now on here on the show, on the Superbike show, Motorsport Radio. I have some stats and facts here compiled by Dr. Martin Rains. Hello.
Yes.
I should sort of confess it was Kiko who kind of nudged me towards these, in that he sent me the of them earlier today. So I'm not going to take the full credit, but I'll take probably a quarter bit of a credit for some of them. Did you know, Kiko, that since the introduction of the four-stroke MotoGP formula in 2002, Honda have had 7 MotoGP victories at the Motegi circuit, including for the last 2 years in 2015. Sorry, I'm not reading this at all. Including for the last 2 years in 2015 with Danny Pedrosa and last year with Marc Marquez.
Yes, very interesting you mentioned that. Last year and the year before, 2016 and 2015, the pole position was actually taken by Yamaha. And in 2014, it was taken by Ducati. So Honda, at their own circuit, it's a Honda-owned track, haven't actually had a pole in the last 3 years. So, you know, they're showing that whilst everyone thinks that the Yamaha is the best bike over the race, maybe it's Honda that, now, we don't have to be quick over 1 lap as long as we quick over 24 laps. You know? Honda obviously go well around there. In all fairness, 2015 was absolutely soaking wet, but last year Marc Marquez dominated more or less after Valentino obviously crashed out very early on in the race.
Indeed, yeah. What else have you? I'm presuming you've also got a copy of the I suppose the stack of information and stats and facts for this weekend's MotoGP. Go on.
I have mine, which are these ones here.
Oh wow, you coloured them in. That's good.
I coloured them in. I'm good with colours. There we are. So there's a lot of preparation. You can actually read this document on the Picture Online. That is my preview. And I have the same one as yours. This is what it looks like. You get this through from the official Dorna guys, the official MotoGP press office, and it is packed full of stuff. I know you can't read this, but in effect, it is just pages and pages and pages of information. And
for the benefit of the people who can't see what it is, it's basically, if you're a nerd like Kiko is, and to a lesser extent me, I am, this document is absolutely fantastic for you, because it gives you tons of bits of information. Thank you, Kiko, yes. Tons of bits of information about pretty much everything.
Doesn't give you it all, though.
Not all, no, but more than enough for me to sound knowledgeable about this weekend's Japanese Grand Prix in MotoGP. So thank you very much,
Anyway, I have another statistic that I don't believe is on that.
All right, go on.
Marc Marquez has won at Misano, and he has won at Aragon. Now, that's 2 races he's won on the trot. He hasn't won 3 races on the bounce since Assen, Sachsenring and Indianapolis in 2014, and that was at the end of his 10-race back-to-back winning run, or 11 races back-to-back winning run. So Marquez, you know, he's on to update one of his own records. That's not bad.
So are you kind of almost saying that he'll win this weekend?
No, I'm saying that he could, and if he does, it'll be. I mean, Marquez, it's very important. We've got to remember this. He's had 18 wins in between that statistic and today. 18 wins and 2 championships have been picked up since then. And he hasn't had 3 wins on the bounce. I find that quite remarkable. You know, Jorge Lorenzo in 2015 won 4 on the bounce on his way to the championship. So, no, I was a little bit stunned when I was in. I didn't expect to be going back so far, 4 seasons ago, 3 years ago. He has 2 other victories as well, 2011 in Moto 2, I believe. 2012 in Moto 2, as I check my notes, and 125s in 2010. So he's won in 125s Moto 2 and twice in Moto GP. He did the high 5 celebration last year. He's going for 5 wins this year at Motegi, so that'd be great for him.
I can tell you, just had a quick flick through that document that we were just referencing, and that stat that you said isn't on that document is actually on that document. Yeah, it does say that.
How good I am at
you haven't read it, have you? Clearly.
I haven't read it, no. I've read half of it, but I didn't. So I did my preview yesterday, Tuesday. So I didn't actually need to read it because I'd already done the preview. But it's nice to have here. We'll look at Marc Marquez now. We'll get right at the back. Here we are. Finished either first or second for 5 years at Motegi.
Did he really? Wow. Okay.
The only time he didn't was 4th in 2015.
Ah, yes. But did you also know another fact that I've lost now?
No, another fact that you never had. Moving on.
But yeah, sorry, moving on.
We'll go to Andrea Dovizioso. Ducati and Dovizioso took pole in 2014, but Ducati hasn't won at Motegi since 2010. Dovi finished second at the circuit last year. He goes into it this year 16 points down on Marquez. Marquez cannot win the title this weekend, so Dovi could crash, Marquez could win, wouldn't be over. It would all be all but over for Dovizioso. What Dovizioso needs to do is, because he's 16 points down, is just take some points of some sort off Marc Marquez, because I have a feeling as soon as it goes over 20, we are going to get into, it's going to be very difficult to catch back up. So Dovizioso, he's never finished outside the top 5, apart from in 2013 when he was 10th in his first year at Ducati, and in 2008, which is his debut year, when he was 9th. So Dovizioso, like Marquez, has a fantastic record at Motegi. Ducati hadn't won there for 7 years or 7 seasons. It will be 7 years now, 8 seasons. So could they do it this year? Yeah, I think they've got a very good possibility. They've got a very good possibility with Jorge Lorenzo too. More on that later. Yamaha go very well there over one lap, as we've seen. Jorge Lorenzo's the lap record holder, actually, from 2014. So that shows how good the Yamaha was back in the second half of that season. Of course, he struggled quite a lot early doors. But back to this year, Yamaha haven't actually won a race since Assen in June, last Sunday of June. That's kind of surprising. That's a long way. Maverick Vinales hasn't won a race since Le Mans in May. So, that's not great for them. Vinales has never actually finished, in all the races that he has finished at Motegi, he's never actually finished outside of the top 4, but he's never won at Motegi either. So, whilst his records are good, they're not amazing, and who knows, maybe he will go well at home in Japan, at Yamaha's home in Japan. Like I say, the last win in Motegi came in 2014. I'm starting to wonder. Vinales needs to get some points back on Marc Marquez, I'm afraid. He cannot afford another weekend behind Marquez because, like I say, that gap is above 20 now. You do not want to go into the last 3 rounds of this championship more than 20 points behind. It's bad enough you're going into the last 4 rounds 20 points. He's actually over 25 points behind. Does it make a lot of difference? Yes, it really does, because the pressure is on you to catch up and not on you to defend, which some riders do like attacking. Vinales hasn't proven much to me this year. His last podium was in Great Britain at Silverstone. And before that was Brno. So, again, Vinales not in the greatest of forms. 4th in Aragon, 4th at Misano. He needs something this weekend. Danny Pedrosa is 4th in the championship. Pedrosa obviously won the Japanese Grand Prix in 2015, came from 8 seconds behind. He toppled Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo, both Yamahas running into tyre troubles in the last quarter of the race. Pedrosa hasn't actually had back-to-back second places because he was second at Aragon. If he's second again in Motegi, that'll be the first time he's had 2 consecutive second places since 2014 in America and Argentina. So again, like Marquez, you have to go back quite a few years to look at some of these records that he could be breaking. Pedrosa is currently on 8 podiums of the year. If he gets one at the weekend, that'll be 9. That'll be 1 short of 10, and the last time he got 10 was in 2014 too. So Danny Pedrosa kind of going back to an old way, you could say. He's definitely coming quicker. He's definitely back to his old self. He can still mathematically win the championship. Realistically, he really needs to beat his teammate. Would Honda allow that? I think they would, even though it doesn't look properly on, I must say. Pedrosa has also got 2 other wins in the Premier Class at Motegi, 2011 and 2012, and he won in the 125s as well, and the 250. So Danny Pedrosa, good record as well at Motegi. That's the top 4. We'll do one more rider in depth. Valentino Rossi is the last rider that can mathematically win the championship. It's a bit like British Superbikes. Top 5 are the only ones that can. Valentino has only won twice in the Premier Class at Motegi, 2001 on the 500cc Honda and 2008 on an 800cc Yamaha. Apart from that, he's crashed out 3 times at the Japanese Grand Prix, including last year, although he started from pole last year. Rossi has not had a great stint in Europe this year. He now leaves Europe behind. I think he's had 2 podiums in the whole of the European bulk of the year. He will want to go to Motegi. His leg is feeling a lot better. He needs to get points, really. He needs to score a 9th place or higher to mathematically stay in the championship. I believe he'll get a top 5. Would he be able to get a podium? I think he wants a dry race. Weather showing it will rain. He doesn't need the rain. He says he doesn't want the rain. So Valentino Rossi doesn't look like he'll be discounted this weekend, but realistically now it doesn't look like it could happen, but we don't know. MotoGP's been so unpredictable this year.
One rider who has already gone home from the Japanese Grand Prix. He got to Japan and he had a medical and failed the medical and was sort of sent home. Was Jonas Folger. Yeah,
the second Tech 3 rider there, the rookie for 2017. Got to Motegi, hasn't felt very well for the last couple of rounds. He's been ill for about a month now, and has unfortunately been sent back home to Germany, to Munich, to have some tests. He had a virus. Don't ask me what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really sort of strange because it didn't say on the actual press release what the issue actually was. Do we know why it is? Because there was talk of him potentially missing not just this race, which he now will do, but future races as well. That sounds like a bit more than just a bit of a virus.
Yeah, it sounds awful, really, when you think about it. But no, Folger was sent home by Tech 3. They've got a new rider in. And do not ask me how you pronounce his name.
I'll have a go.
I think it's Kota Nozane or Kota Nozan. I don't know.
Kota Nozane.
Sounds too Italian, though. Then again, who knows? But anyway, that's the latest with Jonas Folger. He's been sent home. He picked up a virus many years ago. It could be that, but of course he can't say until he has had the declaration from wherever he's having his medical. Like you correctly say, Lester, he may be out for Phillip Island, he may be out for Malaysia. A lot of people already calling for Alex Lowe's to get a run out on a bike, or Michael van der Mark. Well, to the people saying that, I can absolutely tell you that will not happen at the next round in Phillip Island, because of course Phillip Island falls on the same weekend as the Spanish round of World Superbikes, and none of the riders are going to miss that for a MotoGP. They're contracted in World Superbikes, so whoever they get in, maybe it'll be Nozan again, or it may even be someone else, such as Josh Herring. Josh Herring's raced from before. It may be Nakasuga, who's also a wild card this weekend. So,
good old Nakasuga.
Yeah, we will.
Household name.
Yeah, it is, like we are, Lester.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. If anyone kind of knows any insider information about what's going on with Folger, maybe, I don't know, but it seems really strange for him to be almost whatever it is. It seems like it was kind of dismissed about him attending, like you said, the next race as well. Which is kind of I mean, not even Valentino Rossi with his broken entire body. Misses like more than one race. I don't think he did he? No. He
missed Mazzano. That was it. That was the only one. Came back to Aragon, finished fifth.
So, anyway, I don't know. A big hello to Jay King, Cool Fab Racing champion, who's joined us. Hello, Jay. Big hello to you. And also Simon Hall as well, who's tuned in live to the Superbike show on Motorsport Radio. Hello and welcome. And a big hello to everybody tuned in on Facebook as well. You're more than welcome to join us. We usually do this show live on a Wednesday, Thursday, depending on whenever Kiko's not working, to be honest.
Yeah, it's commitments lately, unfortunately, that's prevented us from going ahead on a Wednesday.
Life,
Yeah, just life in general.
Exactly. Moto 2, and what can we look forward to there? Is there much going on? Is it worth talking about?
Absolutely worth talking about. Franco Morbidelli and Tom Luthi are going to go head-to-head this weekend. Luthi's won at the circuit in 2014 and 2016. Franco Morbidelli podiumed at the track last year with a third place. They both know their way around the circuit, obviously, but they are quick. I'm predicting, if it's dry, a very, very good battle between the two. I think they're very evenly matched. 21 points is the gap between the two of them. It's the wrong side of 20, just. But we are going to be in for a very fiery end. It could all go complete wrong way for Tom Luthi if he messes up or if he crashes. Likewise, Franco Morbidelli has never been in this position on the run into the season then. He has got to adapt, he has got to defend, but also he's got to take risks. He cannot afford to give Tom Luthi 5 points or 9 points. You know, Tom Luthi's a rival. He's going to be there. Tom Luthi beat him last year at Phillip Island. And obviously he won at Motegi last year. So the next two races coming up are Thomas Luthi Heartlands. You know, I genuinely believe Franco Morbidelli is not going to have it all his own way. And barring mistakes and acts of God, Leicester,
ooh,
down to the last round.
Oh, God.
To championship.
Oh dear, he said it again. Kiko, basically, on his commentary debut with Motorsport Radio a few months ago during Cool Fab Racing Championships, he said regarding, who was it, Ollie Walker, I think it was, who was leading a race at the time, and he said, barring acts of God, this is going down to the last lap. Immediately after he'd said that word, he hit the floor. So...
I cannot apologise enough to the Walker family.
It's your fault. Everything's your fault, Kiko.
He's done good since I stayed away, though. So
yeah. He's just that's. I guess that's his secret to success, not having you around.
Well, maybe that's the secret supposed to be success. I seem to be a walking curse of late. Oh. Although the only rider I've actually brought good luck to, really, was when I interviewed Shane Burnett Stetson, and he went and done the double. So.
Are you taking credit for that?
I am, absolutely. Okay. I've won 2 British Superbike races.
Okay, excellent. That was good. But yeah, so Moto 2, keep an eye on that this weekend.
Absolutely.
And Moto 3, is there any news? I think there is news regarding Moto 3. Tell us more.
We was listening just before we came on air about Mike Webb has got very, very serious with penalties. We covered it, Leicester. We documented it last week, I think, or the weekend before. That Moto 3 has to change. It is dangerous, the weaving and the slowing down on the straights to try and get a slipstream in qualifying. It is dangerous. And Mike Webb has acknowledged that. He is going to be putting sanctions in. And I genuinely think he's listened to us, Leicester. Because we said, and a lot of people have said, pit lane starts or race bans. And he said, pit lane starts or disqualification from the race.
Well, I wouldn't blame him for tuning in. There are literally thousands of people who tuned in to the show in the past 47 minutes or so. So, hello. It's kind of worrying if people are listening to us because we do talk crap sometimes.
Well, I do.
Especially me. Just give us a quick roundup of what sort of penalties then will be implemented, what he's cracking down with, and how's it going to go down, and what will you be penalised with if you do certain things?
I think if you are weaving in the back straight or in any straight, or if you are below the 110% rule in your sector, in that specific sector which you are cruising in, you will cop a penalty. Then penalties will consist of, or did do, of points, and then they got rid of that, fines, and they've got rid of that now. What Mike Webb is actually saying is, if these same people keep doing it, you will just be straight away sanctioned. You have to listen, you have to take on board what we are saying. He says there will be people starting from pit lane, absolutely, and there's, in extreme cases, for repeat offenders, doesn't matter in what session, if it's free practice 1, 2, 3, qualifying or warm-up, if you keep on doing it, you will be disqualified from the race result. There is no two ways about it. And I do admire Mike Webb. That's a great decision. Yes, they're young, but they have to learn the hard way sometimes. You know, if they are going to put themselves and their fellow competitors at risk of what they do, because they've been doing it all year and they've been doing it for the last year or 2 years, something has to change. People have to start saying, listen, you cannot do this. And the only way they're going to listen is if you start penalising them properly, heavily. And I'm glad to say Mike Webber's done it.
Is it the right punishment, considering that he almost literally took, or seemingly took, your advice the other week and implemented exactly what you said should happen? I'm guessing you think it's the right choice or the right decision?
I think it's absolutely the right decision. It's gone on for far too long now. You're at a position with Moto3 where you have to start saying, well, you've had the chance to listen. You haven't listened to us. You've chose to ignore us. So therefore, you're not racing. Or therefore, you're starting from the pit lane. You're having a 10-second penalty. And that riders will learn. We don't want it to have an implication on the championship, of course. That's not what motorcycle racing is about. It's not what any form of racing is about, unless you watch Formula 1. But there is a limit to how much race direction can sit and look and say, just carry on as normal. I'm glad they're not changing the qualifying format, because the riders are young and they need the time to develop their skills. And they need the track time in a world championship environment, which is, crucial to them, because they need to develop. So I'm glad they haven't changed that. But unfortunately, for some riders, for repeat offenders, it's going to end up in them being disqualified. One thing I didn't get in the interview that we listened to was he said that Joan Mir was a rider who is an example. Now, I'm very, very sorry.
What, bad example?
No, an example to look up to. I'm sorry, but that does not wash for me at all, because he is on the document, and I will email you the document over, Leicester. On the same document, every week, Joan Mir will be on it. Now, I've said that, he won't be. But believe me, for the last 4 or 5 rounds, I get all the Dawn press releases through. He's on it every Sunday morning. I don't call that exemplar riding.
Could it just be that, although, yes, you're right in that he's had those things happen, but overall he is a rider who some of the other young lads and lasses riding can look up to in general, because he's probably the best out of a crazy bunch?
No, don't think so at all. You can't have one rule for one and one rule for another just because they're better or they act better. Because at the same time they're seeing, oh, he's a champion, so we'll do what he's doing. And unfortunately, waiting for a slipstream down the straight when everyone else is going for it, flat out, full chat, ain't doing anything very much good. That's not. I wouldn't say that's great to look up to at all, really. Well,
we've had a couple of comments come in, and I think one idea echoed from, I think, what somebody else mentioned on a previous show, and perhaps I think what I suggested as well. Jay King has been back on. Hi, Jay. He suggested a super poll for Moto3, which would perhaps stop all the waiting around for a tow in qualifying, so that might be a thing. But again, I think we mentioned at the time last week that very much depends on, just like in BSB, depends on weather and other circumstances as well.
Depends on weather, but again, we're talking about riders that are 17, 18, some are 16 years old. They need the track time. They need to be able to dial in 10 laps at the start of a session, because they need to be in a world championship environment. They need to acclimatise at each venue they go to.
They're not going to be perilously dangerous if they have like 15 less minutes on track, though, are they?
No, but again, if you then, okay, how do you seed it all? So you've got 34, 35 riders in Moto3. Each one of them has to have one lap. If you have some circuits, so Circuit of the Americas, you're talking over a 2-minute lap. It's going to take an hour and a half to do one qualifying session. So then what you do is you have to whittle them down to the top 16. But unfortunately then, that's still going to take a long time when it could all be done and dusted in a 40-minute session, nice and easily. So, yeah, I'm a little bit hard. I'm not game for the Super Bowl. Not for Moto3. I think it'd be great for Moto2 because we need the spice in Moto2. Moto3 just needs to be, listen, you're doing this. If you don't play by our rules that we set for safety, your safety and others' safety, well, you have to get a penalty.
Well, what do you think?
Your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think?
if you're tuned into us live online, either listening to us or listening to us as a podcast, because we do podcasts here on Motorsport Radio, believe it or not.
Can you download them?
You can, yes. Just go to the your preferred location of podcast provider site and search Motorsport Radio or the Superbike Show, and you can just download it, and that's good. Or you can go directly to our website, motorsport.radio, and find it, download it, and even it's really good actually to play if you're travelling to somewhere, like a race circuit, for example. Download it and listen to it on your travels, and it'll keep you awake, probably not. That's what I usually do when I'm consuming podcasts, is I listen to them in my van when I'm on my way to places. Just cause, you know. But anyway, so yeah, let us know. Alternatively, if you're tuned in live, hello to you, and you can get in touch with us by using the comments box on this live stream, or you can tweet at msportradio. It's Motorsport Radio on Twitter, or you can tweet or message Kiko directly. Where?
Best place to do it is Twitter at MotoGP Kiko. My DMs are well open. Because I'm not very popular anyway, but you can always publicly tweet me and shame me and call me a lizard an idiot for all I care. Or you can get in touch with me on Facebook. I'm the admin of the MC Insurance British Superbike group. It's not the official one, but there's about 17,000 people in it. So
yeah,
I'm the admin there, so get in touch with me through there, or just, give us a message again. I'll always get back to you. It's a bit hard, though, I must say. I have a few messages tonight. I've had about 10 messages come to personally to me tonight while I'm on the show. It's very, very difficult for me to always get them out, because obviously I'm doing...
Because they're all filled with abuse, aren't they?
Well, yeah, well, not just the abuse, but, I don't want to be always looking at my phone, and that's why sometimes I do apologise to those who are watching. If I'm looking away, that's because I'm trying to sort through comments and get as many opinions across as possible. I'm going to try and do one now, actually.
Is it Tony Morris, by any chance? Has he been on? I know he's tuned in. Hello, Tony.
Oh, is he on? The BSB Troublemaker?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was our sort of special guest last... Well, I say... well, not sort of. Actual guest
he
last week.
Was our special guest, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, you qualify as a special guest, I suppose. He was a good guy to have on last week. Tony Morris, hello. If you're still tuned in, well done for... still tuning in and not, whatever.
There's a comment here from Simon Hall.
Oh, yes.
Moto3, if you do not keep up or start to slack, so in effect, if you are slow on the racing line or waiting for a slipstream, get black flagged. I take it that means end the qualifying session for that particular rider. Yeah, I agree with that, because most of the towing and the slipstream happens at the end of the session.
Yeah, I mean, what happens in... Sorry to keep using like four-wheeled analogies, but what happens in Formula 1 is that the competitors in qualifying, I think they have like a minimum lap time that they must adhere to when they're going round. So everybody's given a minimum, say, lap of, I don't know, 1:25, for example, to coast round in. And if you go slower than that, you have to come into the pits because it's presumed you've got a problem, or you have to either speed up and go flat out. So that, I think that a system like that might help, or something like what Simon said.
You already have that with the 110% rule. So again, riders are choosing in Moto3 to ignore this rule, and I'd hate to be Mike Webb, and this is why, right? And it gets me a little bit angry. On Twitter, you get lots and lots of keyboard warriors.
No, really? Surely not.
Unfortunately, we have... So it happened with the Keith Farmer incident with Ben Curry. We'll use British Superbike as an example. When that decision was made, all of a sudden, Stuart Higgs was given a torrent of abuse on Twitter. Now, I'm sorry, but race directors and race organisers have one of the hardest jobs.
Yeah, they
and
can't
if it wasn't for them, then we wouldn't have a championship. So just bear that in mind. Now, I'm not sticking up for anyone here, but common sense, bear that in mind, because British Superbikes is a fantastic series. MotoGP is too. So what we should do is actually just think, well, maybe that could have been done better, or maybe that could have, they could have done this instead of that, or whatever. But at the end of the day, the decision was made, and most of the decisions are fair. They have more access to what we see at home, or what we see on our monitors, or what we see on timing screens. They have CCTV cameras. They have onboard footage they can look at. They are not making a decision on what we see. They will sit down for an hour, maybe more, and analyse the situation, talk to the however many parties are involved, and they will lash it out, come to a conclusion, job done. You know, some riders will not like that. Some riders will disagree. And they'll say, well, this rider should have got that, or he didn't deserve this. Well, you know, race directors have a very difficult job. I've seen the screens that they have to look at. There's hundreds of monitors, hundreds of cameras around the circuit.
I'd love to be sat in race control. Well, I have done before in previous races, not in BSB, but at Alton Park. And the array of screens, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very difficult job. So, you know, I praise the organisers because they have a very difficult job, as I keep saying. So their decision is never going to please everyone. But as you know, the saying goes, you can't please all of the people all of the time. Some people you're going to upset, some people you're going to have on side. Unfortunately, that's the way it is in all walks of life, and all walks of jobs and careers, and race directing is no different. I'm no expert on race directing, but I think it's important for people to understand that these decisions are not made just based on what we see. They have a wealth of cameras behind the scenes that they can look at and analyse and then form a decision.
It is easy, though, to... I mean, it's probably the easiest thing in the world. We see a version that we believe, and we get all in the moment and a bit sort of overexcited, and we get carried away with certain things, and maybe, I don't know if there's been controversial incidents that we think that we know about. There might have been other mitigating, like you said, there might have been other things that we don't know, that we haven't seen, you know, off screen. We haven't seen, you know, all the data, so immediately we'll jump on Twitter. I may have done something similar to that in Formula One. Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose you would probably sort of say, just calm down, guys, because just...
I don't like using it, and I'm totally against it, but you know, sometimes you think, oh, could you do a better job? Just understand why these decisions are made and how they get there. Don't just say, Stu Higgs is a believer and idiot, because he's absolutely not. That decision that he has come to would have been calculated, that would have been consulted by people. Everyone would have helped form that decision, I'm fairly sure, and it is not an idiot decision. That is you know, and when the decision's made, most people do agree with it, but you get this small 15% of people just go and say, that's a rubbish decision, you've made a wrong decision. Well, sorry, but that's just how, you know, you can't, like I say, can't please everyone.
If you have any views on what Kiko's said, if you agree or perhaps if you disagree, then let us know. Get in touch with us. It's at M-Sport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on Facebook. Or you can join in on the comments box on this live stream. Or you can just send us an email if you're not tuned in to us live, because we enjoy your comments. Either way, as Kiko takes a sip of his non-branded Coca-Cola drink. It's Pepsi.
Max
Verstappen.
Yeah, you know Coca-Cola? Can I just get this in?
Go on.
There are other products available.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola started doing all these names, didn't they? So you can take Shanice. The bottle of Coke is called Shanice, or Sarah. Well, sorry. That says Max on it. So, you know, I think Coke were a little bit behind on that.
The world according to Kiko there. Anyway, yeah. So the point being, let us know if you have any opinions on penalties, whether you are a particularly good armchair race director. Tell us why. Tell us why everybody's wrong and only you are right, and give us examples. Show your work. We want to know. And if you are really good, we really do want to know. But we'd be incredibly shocked if you are. So this is the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester, and we will continue our discussion next.
Now. This This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Yes. Hello, my name is Lester. This is the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And we do this every single week, usually. Around this time of the week as well, midweek-ish, sort of. And we like to unwind, I suppose, of an evening and find out all the latest, biggest gossip from BSB and MotoGP and World Superbikes, and find out who's moving where and which team is coming and going and who said what about whom, and also get the latest on the various arguments unfolding on Tinternets as well, with myself, Lester, and Kiko Alexander Giles and his Facebook group, and also various other Facebook pages and groups as well, like the Motorbike Daily Facebook group. Check them out as well. They're a fantastic Facebook page, and yeah, that's I think they've got 155,000 followers on there. Not bad, I think. So yeah, let us know basically what your thoughts are on any particular given subject that we're talking about tonight. We have had a full hour or so of talking about news, MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 as well. And back with us on the show is Kiko Alexander Giles from the Pit Crew Online. Hello and welcome back, Kiko.
Yeah, great stuff. We cut to that break just then. One thing we didn't get out, Moto2 news this weekend. I think we touched on it last week. NTS are coming in as a chassis manufacturer. They are very well respected in Japan. They will be running Stephen Odendahl, last year's champion in the Moto2 CEV series, and Joe Roberts, who is the rider for AGR in Moto2 this year. Obviously, AGR folded, so I think he may be around for a little while longer. But he has been doing a bit of stuff in the CEV as well. He was at Aragon last weekend. So yeah, that's some news. And also Ford Racing announced their ride lineup. And do you know what? I just forgot it. Bear with
Kiko.
I know. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. And here we go. Right, sorry. We are... I will find out for you. And Eric Granado. There we are. Eric Granado is more or less... I think he may even be confirmed as champion now in the CEV Championship. But he's a Brazilian rider. He's actually dabbled in Moto2 a little bit before. He rode for the Mobile One Motorbike bike in 2012, I believe. He was only 16 when that happened. So, yeah, he's coming in for next year. A very, very good team as well. Race winners, of course, with Lorenzo Baldassari last season. So they know what they're doing. And that'll be a nice little setup, I believe. But Stefano Manzi is their number one rider, and Eric Granado, the Brazilian, their number two. Long time since we had a successful Brazilian in the championship. And I'm not on about grid girls before you throw that one in, Leicester.
I never said anything. Anything.
I can see your look on your face.
It's usually like this. Don't worry about it. Did we mention earlier? Because, of course, I always listen to what you say, Kiko, and never zone out when you're talking. But did we mention to mention regarding Josh Waters to congratulate him on what exactly?
He is the Australian Superbike champion, and he's done it with Suzuki in the new Gixxer 1000's first ride out. Fantastic stuff, quite frankly. Really, really good stuff in general, that is. Because we've kind of criticised Suzuki a little bit this year. No, I think that's a little bit unfair.
We? Do you mean you?
Well, no. I don't mean any of us, actually. I mean the motorcycle racing fraternity.
Okay.
I think we've been a little bit harsh on Suzuki this year. You know, we've got to remember, this is their first... this is their first year in it, effectively, as a full factory effort for a long, long time. This is a new bike. It's not been the big star-studded performance straight away, not in Britain anyway. But it's come good. we've seen at Aston in British Superbike, the Suzuki's a race winner with Sylvain Guintoli. We have seen now in Australia that Josh Waters, the ex-British Superbike race winner, can win on the Suzuki. Wrapped up at Phillip Island over the weekend. Fantastic stuff from him. We've seen in America, it's very successful in Motor America, with Tony Elias winning and Roger Lee Hayden coming second. It's a Suzuki 1-2 out there. As well as that, it's been very successful at the TT. It was a senior TT winner with Michael Dunlop this year, and it's running second in the Stock 1000 Championship. So whilst Suzuki, they're still having their teething problems, and the bike is developing, and the riders are developing with the bike, so it's very hard to find a concrete ground. That bike, I believe, is ready for World Championship racing. I really do. It's very important. I think we've got to get it out there, because the more manufacturers in World Superbikes, the better. And also it's 2 more seats that could be filled somewhere along the lines. Who they're filled by, I don't know. There's loads of rumours about Bradley Ray going to Suzuki. I'm not so sure. But, I think we'll see. I think we will see just what Suzuki will do. And I really think they should go up to the World Superbike Championship. I remember having a brilliant conversation with Martin Helsel. He said that despite the fallout he had with Suzuki GB, the Suzuki bike is actually a really good bike. So, and he's right, the bike is fantastic.
Mm. Well, Simon Hall has chipped in, and he said he must admit, said Simon Hall, that their lineup was rubbish. Brad Ray outrode them all this year.
I wouldn't say it was rubbish.
But that's what Simon said.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with it being rubbish. I think what we got to understand is Sylvain Guintoli has spent the last 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, the last 7 years on very good circuits. Now, I'm not saying British circuits aren't good, but there is the safety aspects of World Championship level circuits and what there is at domestic level circuits. And he has not felt at home at places like Cadwell Park, at Alton Park. But he went well at Silverstone, which is obviously grade A, and he went well at Aston, which is obviously grade A. So, overall, and he didn't do too bad at Donington either. So, I think Sylvain, it's been very disappointing. You could say it's been disappointing. I don't think the lineup was awful. Left to be desired a bit with the Taylor Mackenzie decision. But Hawke won the Stock 1000 Championship with him the year before with Bill-based BMW. So at the end of the day, I don't think their lineup was rubbish. But you got to remember, Taylor Mackenzie had rode a Superbike before, and Sylvain Guintoli has obviously rode a Superbike before. So they have the comparison to try and get this bike how they know a Superbike should be. Whereas Bradley Ray's never rode a Superbike before. And that can work as an advantage, because he didn't have a benchmark to meet. He just got on the bike and he was learning, He was chipping away, just trying to do the best he could do on the bike. And look at it, he's just incredible. I'm not going to start on the Bradley Ray rave again. But what a year he's had. 11th in the championship. He's not far off the top 10.
I'm not going to start talking about Brad Ray again, but wow, what a great Ray. Yeah.
But no, he's had a podium. So the Suzuki throughout the year has got a lot better. Yeah, the lineup could have been a bit better, but I wouldn't say it's a dire lineup.
No, he didn't. He didn't actually say it was dire. He said it was rubbish. And then you said you disagreed, and then you kind of agreed with him at the end.
No, it could have been better. I wouldn't say it's rubbish, though. I mean, you've got to remember, Sylvain Guintoli's a World Superbike champion. It's going to take him a bit of time. The last time Sylvain Guintoli was in this championship was when we had traction control, big factories, big money coming in. We had all the support. It's not like that anymore. There has been a lot of regulation changes, which is allowing lots of different teams to compete. Like Sylvain said, British Superbike, since he was last in it, has got so much thicker in talent, and the depth of talent in that field is so much greater than it's ever been. Therefore, results like wins and podiums were never really going to come. Let's not forget, Bradley Ray didn't start getting on it and going top 10. He got an 8th, I think, in his 4th ever race on it. But my point is, that is a development project, and that bike will come good, and I think could be in the showdown next year. Depends who's on it. It's not going to be Silva and Gintoli. I'm 99.9% sure. So
Brad will be on.
I think the bike's going to be a great bike next year. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's already had some, I can't remember exactly what upgrades that bike has had. He's had some sort of improvements to it.
Swing arm. The swing arm has been a big change. So that has helped a lot. And that's why he went well at Assen. But also, like we say, Silva knows Assen very well. Gone well there before. His first and only Grand Prix podium came there in 2003. His first World Superbike win came there in 2012, etc. You can go on and on and on through his records. So, I think, no, I don't think that Suzuki was as big a problem as we thought it may be.
Well, there's been other comments flooding as well. Thank you to everyone who's joined in with the debate tonight here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And Jay King mentioned earlier, talking regarding Moto 2 with BSB class. He talked about the numbers are dropping, and he asks, do you think it's time to bring a Moto 2 class to BSB? Well, there's already been some news about this. Jay, and what do we know, Kiko?
Oh, I was hoping this question wouldn't come up. Moto 2 in British Superbikes.
Is that a sigh? Because is that a good sigh?
I don't think how to answer this well. I'm not for it because of the fact that it does cost a lot of money initially. In the long run, it may be cheaper because obviously there's going to be more parts. But as soon as you start turning the championship into a prototype championship, if they're going to try and phase it in alongside Supersport, which we know they're not for the next 2 years, you're going to get obviously big teams, big budgets. You can pay good riders on a good bike, and it's going to be a massive gap. However, I don't think that it's not that I'm totally against Moto 2. I love the way that technology develops in all walks of life. I think it's great, and I think if they can find this and find that, that's brilliant. And I don't know if he's watching, Dave Tyson told me this, and I've actually reconsidered my thoughts. It's not whether or not there should be Moto 2, and it's not whether or not there should be Supersport. It's what is the need for it? Because for many years now, in British Supersport, there's only really been 3 manufacturers doing well anyway. Triumph, Yamaha, Kawasaki in 2016, and then this year Yamaha, Kawasaki, MV Agusta. A few years ago it was Triumph, Yamaha, Honda, then a bit of Kawasaki, so you had 4. But the general picture is there's only ever been 3 or 4. There's still 3 now. Yeah, numbers are falling and the championship is thinned out, but no, I don't think the Moto 2 is going to solve the fact that the championship's thinned out and the best riders in that championship have progressed, and some are rumoured to keep on progressing out of it this year. Supersports are declining the whole way over the world, unfortunately. 600cc bikes are dying, even though they are actually up in Thailand and Vietnam and Cambodia and the Far East in general.
But doesn't it make sense, if that's happening, to literally just switch and have a Moto 2 class? Because the alternative is dying, though.
If you try and tell someone that to run in an intermediate class, you have to buy a bike, and that's going to be, what, £39,000, £40,000? That's a rough figure. You've then got to have the knowledge to get the people, you've then got to have the budget to employ the people who work on the bike. Now, them people are very select because it's only really been tried in 2 countries, Spain, and in 2 championships, Spain, and in obviously the World Championship, and there's little forms around the world. But in general, there's only 2 championships. When you start doing that, prices come up. Then you've got to find a rider not only have you got to get people that know how to run a Moto2 bike, you've got to get people who understand how to interpret the data from that, how it runs in the UK, all these different things. And suddenly you're looking at, you know, Dave Tyson is a figure, £100,000 to run a one bike. Now, that will go up because you've got your tyre, but everything on top of that. Now, why? Why would you do that? I mean, I don't know. It might be not so much cheaper in British Supersport, but the big fear is that people don't want to make this big shift. I know for a fact Martin Halsall wouldn't do it. He wouldn't entertain it. He's told me that himself. So straight away, you have top teams, Halsall and Dave Tyson, just not totally against it, but sceptical about this big move. But again, is it for the good of the series? Is it good for the longevity of the intermediate class? That's something we have to find out, and maybe something we need to dig deeper on. The good news is, though, I'm happy to report, is that there has been an announcement made that British Supersports will remain for another 2 seasons. So that's great news for the teams now. They can make a plan for 2 years, and great for riders. They can make a plan for 2 years as well. So,
well, surely that with that bit of knowledge in mind, surely with that 2-year sort of buffer, it gives them the opportunity to build up towards, perhaps if they want to, making the shift over to, and like you said, invest in the Moto2 kit and equipment. I don't think it's as dramatic as you are making out to be, but yeah, it might be a bit of an investment, but it's better than racing around with low numbers. I mean, nobody really wants to race in a race with just a few people in, do they? That's
yeah, but then you can make the same argument for British Superbikes. In 2014 and 2015, we had an entrance list that was oversubscribed. We had, I think, 40 teams, 40 riders were scheduled to be on the grid. It ended up being about 34. So there's only 23 now, so it's still come down. Obviously, the optimum number's around 30, but British Superbike numbers have still fallen. You go to knock it off, there's even less. So, personally, I don't think you can just look at Supersport. You just have to work of a way to make it more popular, make it more attractive, maybe introduce an Evo class, to get more teams in, to get more riders in, to make it a better spectacle. Yeah, you have a race within a race, and I'm not a fan of that, but you have a healthy grid, and then you phase it back in, and you just have to you have to make British Superbikes, and not just PSP, all championships, World Superbikes, MotoGP, you have to make them fit with the current climate of economics, of environment, of, you know, political as well, what's going on in the world.
Political?
No, you do. You have to take in all these external factors and make a decision. Our 600 bikes aren't always being made. Yamaha have bought a new one out. The MB Augusta's coming good. Kawasaki, okay, they don't build theirs. You can still get Triumphs. You know, there are still 3 manufacturers, and all that has to be done is being made affordable. I obviously haven't got the money, but I think teams have, and teams will invest. Let us know your thoughts.
Well, we have had a couple of comments flood in, and thank you if you are still tuned in or have just joined us here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And if this is your first experience of Motorsport Radio, then you're more than welcome to stick around. We usually do this type of show usually around this time of the week, depending on whether Kiko's at work, basically. But Mark Collin has been on, and hello Mark. He said that Supersport is a dying brand. Moto2 is needed as a feeder source into MotoGP. Maybe that is the entire point behind it. And Tony Casson has been on and said bike technology needs to be progressed a la F1. Just speak to Guy Martin.
Yeah, Guy Martin obviously had this little trial at Williams, and yeah, that is a thing that I think Grand Prix does need to enhance. But I will come back to this point as well with Formula 1. Grand Prix does need to get a bit more technological, I believe, or bike racing in general needs to, I guess. But I don't think we're lacking. Tyre technology, for one, has rocketed through. You know, I've never rode, but I can remember we used to get a tyre that was by nowhere near as developed as it was now. I mean, yeah, in Grand Prix you used to have tyres flown in, but there are Michelin in the Grand Prix and Pirellis as well in Superbikes are working so hard to produce a tyre that is good for everyone. So the rate of development is just excelled. The way that parts can be made and the way that bikes are being made, in 2008 we was talking about pneumatic valves, and I think they're almost gone now. They're certainly they've been around for a long time. They're not even common anymore. Now we're talking about brakes and all sorts. You remember carburetors? I think 1998 Kawasaki were the only team to run carburetors because everyone else had moved on. So I don't know if he's still watching. I'll just have a quick look. If he is, Tony Morris told me a great story about carburetors.
Oh yeah, are we allowed to mention it?
It's about the Skinner's Sausage Union.
Oh my God!
And honestly, that is no.
Should we apologise beforehand?
No, that is not a euphemism.
Okay.
That is honestly, it's Skinner's Sausage Union. Look it up. Carburetors came from that.
Okay, I'll Google sausages.
Technology, in general, technology has come on. Where Formula One, I believe, could learn is from where motorcycle racing has developed the media technology. I was only having this conversation with my media lecturer earlier. We have now 540-degree cameras. We have 4K. We have 360-degree cameras, gyroscopic effect cameras. We must have around 200 cameras across a Grand Prix weekend. You can watch it online on board with any rider. You can watch and any camera. You have the footage that you get from these cameras. They are not the grainy things that Randy Momola debuted back in 1985 with the Dutch TT, first ever onboard camera. These are crystal clear. These are normal television cameras. The rate of development has been incredible. I remember, I think it was 2009, we had the first ever gyroscopic camera. And now we've got these cameras that do all sorts, 540 degrees. MotoGP has, and the super slow-mos as well. MotoGP has really excelled in all that, and I do think that Formula One could learn from that. Same way, MotoGP could learn from Formula One in maybe the rate of technology as in prototypes, but I think we're doing that anyway. And 2, as in going to new markets and going to new countries. I think that's very important too.
I think you just want to go to Syria, don't you? You want to see a Syrian Grand Prix one day.
Well,
but yeah, talking about Formula One, they have actually got better since they. For those who don't know much or care much about Formula One, they have actually implemented new things like the 360 cameras, which they I think got originally, like you said, it might have been actually from MotoGP's original sort of pioneering tests of them. And also I think one thing MotoGP really did do well and I think still lead the live TV market in is actually, it's only a little thing, but for nerds like me, it's kind of TV and tech nerds like me, is the actual sidebar of live stats, so the live standings where people are in real time. So you see people, like some guys drop down from 7th to 12th, and you see it literally go down. Formula One's just now, recently, in the past year, just brought in that technology when MotoGP was doing it many, many years ago. So
that's a very important point as well. That tower that you see, they call it the tower on the left-hand side, that tower is so up to date. It's actually quicker than the commentary teams in their commentary boxes. That tower actually is quicker than what the commentary team get relayed to them back in their box. That's how quick it is. One thing that, and I'm almost 100% certain on this, there was no Formula One and MotoGP that used 4 to 4 decimal points as in the timing. Yes. It's one thing that Keith Ewan has for years gone on about. We need to do it because the time we move to 3 decimal points, like 0.123
to a thousandth of a second.
Yeah, and now what would it be? Tens of thousands?
It'll be a hundredth of thousand or something. Yeah,
because IndyCar use them.
Yeah, so it's seconds, tenths, hundredths, thousandth, millionth of a second. Yeah, it'll be a millionth. I don't know. Okay. I guess, but yeah, I agree. Basically,
that's one thing I like about IndyCar is that all their graphics are at the top of the screen. Doesn't interfere down the side. It's just nice and simple. You can pretty much work out the whole race from just looking at the top. Although it is a little bit confusing because we're running along all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the top bar I much prefer a sidebar.
So American though. You know, you look at turn the telly on and you've got that at the top. You just think that's in America.
Yeah, but
anyway, shall we go on to British Superbike?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we do get
we actually have the biggest weekend of the year this year. We've had 23 races, 11 rounds, over 1,000 kilometres of racing, and we are still 5 riders in the mix for British Superbike success, and I cannot wait. I'm so happy that it has gone down to the last round. I'm so happy I will be there. Leon Haslam leads away, 32 points. He has had 6 wins, 6 other podiums. He's been very successful. Didn't start, of course, in Knock Hill. He leads the way. Pete Exton's Bournemouth Kawasaki team will be so happy about that, I can tell you. There you are, the JG Skifit Kawasaki's there. Number 1, Leon Haslam. Number 2, and we will go in detail. I'm just going to run through that top 6. Number 2, Josh Brooks on the Anvil Hire Tag Yamaha, running out of Swadlincote in Derbyshire. What a fantastic performance that's been from him and the team this year. I have to come on to that later. Shane Byrne, 40 years old, one of the oldest, one of the fastest. The Ducati, he's never defended a championship in all of his 5 that he's won. Ducati haven't defended the championship since 2003, when he's got one in 2002, Byrne won his first in 2003. 4th, Jake Dixon. He mathematically can still win the championship. He needs to score 5 more points than Leon Haslam to stay in with a chance of winning in the first race, but realistically it looks almost over. Peter Hickman, he can still win it. He is 63 points back. He needs to score 14 points more than Haslam to be in with a chance. Those are the top 5 that can win. There will be no dream championship for Jason O'Halloran in 2017. He mathematically cannot win it in 6th place there. But let's remember, that Honda racing team, that is the first year that SB2 has been unveiled. They got the bike late. They were very low down on testing hours and testing time. That 6th place, if he stays there or if he progresses through this weekend, that is an achievement on its own. That is a fantastic achievement where all the problems come out about Honda at the start of the year with the gearbox issues and engine issues in World Superbikes and at the TT and on the roads and all sorts. But Jason O'Halloran and Dan Linfoot, of course, the teammate to Jason, has won 2 races. What an incredible performance it's been for them, really. I know they use different engine builders and tuners, but all in all, what a performance. It's been fantastic.
So the standings as it is this at the moment, going into the final round there, and I usually do ask Kiko, but maybe I shouldn't, but I probably will anyway because I usually do. Who's going to win?
I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know. Points wise, it says Leon Haslam, doesn't it? 32 in head, but it's not as simple as that. Josh Brooks has won 9 times at Brands Hatch Grand Prix, 4 times on the Yamaha he rides now, the new version R1. He's had 5 wins elsewhere. He's got another 6 podiums as well, I believe, at the track, or something like that. Might be 2 or something. He's had 6 other podiums this year. Josh Brooks definitely looks very, very good. Lap record holder as well. Set that earlier in the year on the Yamaha he actually rides now. In the dry, it's predicted to be dry all weekend. I hope, for the sake of my tenter, that he is dry as well. Shane Byrne, though, listen to this, Leicester. 17 race wins at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Grand Prix circuit, that's not including the Indy circuit. 17 wins. First one came back in 2003, race 2, when he was riding for the Monster Mob Ducati for Paul Bird. What a performance it'd be if he managed to get to 20 race wins this weekend for the same team at Brands Hatch. It'd be incredible. Be a little bit better if he took the championship win for him. He's only 1 point behind Josh Brooks. That makes him 33 down on Leon Haslam. In short, for Leon Haslam to win the championship, if he is on the podium in all 3 races, regardless of what Josh Brooks does, regardless of what Shane Byrne does, he will be champion. It won't be as straightforward as that, because obviously we have lots of riders coming through. You can see there on the graphic. Lots of riders coming through. Jake Dixon didn't have a great round at Brands Hatch in July, but goes well. Peter Hickman won a race at Brands Hatch last year and was 3rd in the 2nd race and 12th, I believe, in the 3rd. So he goes well around there, although he's only had 6 top 10 positions. Let me just check that, I believe. Yep, six top 10 positions, and it's his first time in the top 6 of the championship too. So Peter Hickman, another one who's had a great season already. This championship is far from done. And I just do not know who can win this. I really don't. You've got a lot of spoilers as well. You've got Bradley Ray, has been doing incredible. Again, I don't want to go on about him, but he's done so well at Transat before. He won a Supersport race there last year. He had 3 other podiums there last year. He had an 8th place at the Indy circuit back in April. He had another 8th place there in July when I wasn't there, unfortunately. He goes to Brands Hatch. We've seen what he can do when he goes back to a circuit that he knows. Alton Park, he finished 3rd. He could be a podium rider. I do not care what anyone says. People just say I'm blown.
He is a podium rider. He
can get on the podium this weekend, as can Sylvain Guintoli. He goes well at Brands. He's won at the Indy circuit there before. You could have James Ellison. He could go well there for the McCambridge Yamaha team. He's done well there before. Okay, he was mugged on the last lap, I believe, at the Indy round last year, but he won the last race of the season last year for Kawasaki. Interestingly, Leon Haslam, another point, we say Josh Brooks has won 9 races there, Shane Burns 17. Leon Haslam just the 2, and both of them came in 2005 and 2006 respectively. Both were the last race of the season. So lots of statistics there for you to all digest watching this. They mean nothing because we do not know how this is going to play out at all. I personally believe, as do a lot of people in British Superbikes, it's going to be this first race. Leon Haslam has said that he needs to win the first race. If that happens, Josh Brooks and Shane Byrne are going to find it really difficult to take the championship off him. At the same time,
well, that's provided he finishes the other 2 races.
Exactly. At the same time, you can't predict weather.
Could you?
People say, "Oh, it's going to be sunny this weekend at Brands Hatch." What I have found from going to Brands Hatch for the last couple of seasons is that place has its own little microclimate. Longfield train station is around 4 miles away. Now, it could be sunny there, and it could be a tsunami at Brands. You could be swimming down to Paddock Hill Bend because it just is. It's kind of like in a little bowl. It's like its own little weather settings.
Are we secretly hoping for a thunderstorm, perhaps, just to spice things up?
I think that, well, it's rained there for the last few years. At some point there at the weekend, we've had different looking grids. Last year, of course, it rained terribly on the Saturday and it delayed the race for about an hour. That was as well as the crash between Harry Mainway and Martin Philip Backlund. So there's a lot of stuff to consider. There's a lot of external factors. I'll use that phrase again. Lots of external factors that could play a part and influence the outcome of this Superbike Championship. I spoke to Josh Brooks way back at Alton Park, and he gave a fantastic analogy. What you have to do is you have to try and create a controlled environment. You, especially in qualifying, you have to try and limit change in the track. You have to just adapt to what you have. A changing environment, a changing climate is not what you need, because you are effectively trying to create a controlled environment, and you are. You know, no riding this corner where it's 3 or 4 degrees less than what it was at the previous corner, or there's drops of rain at one corner, or tyres gone off on one side. You are just trying to create this nice niche environment that makes you perform. Cooler temperatures will make bike performance better. It will also make human performance better. So there's a lot of things to consider. Statistics are one thing, but what you don't get with statistics is the analysis behind them. So, for example, if it rains, who's the wet weatherman in all of that? I'd personally argue that you're looking at someone like Christian Eden. Always goes well in the wet. He was doing okay. Jake Dixon has shown that he can go very well in the wet.
Yeah, but look what happened at Alton as well. Brand new podium man, Bradley Ray.
Confidence in his home circuit, of course.
Yeah, he always manages to sort of keep it on track when everybody else is sliding off.
Yep, I think there's a famous line in Macbeth, the Shakespeare play, I was able to keep my head whilst everyone else's fell off around. Something like that.
See, English didn't go completely amiss, Kiko.
No, I did get a B at A level, so and an A star in GCSE. But never mind. Anyway, back to the real stuff that actually matters.
Quoting Macbeth.
Qualifications do not matter when you're talking British Superbikes, I'm afraid. You just have to have a qualification of knowledge. I am lacking, probably. Westmoreland, he can go well in the wet. Tommy Bridle can go well in the wet. There are so many riders out there out to prove a point. It's not, like I say, if you look outside the top 6, 7, 8 and 9 are covered by 7 points. They're going for the Riders' Cup. If you look down from Christian Hidden all the way down to Glen Irwin, that is covered by, 67 points. There are 75 points up for grabs. That means mathematically, Glen Irwin could finish Riders' Cup winner. So there were little battles going on all the way down the championship. Obviously, there's a battle for top Suzuki honours, which we keep referencing every weekend or every show, with Bradley Ray currently 11th, Sylvain Tony's 13th. There's that as well. You've got people like, Richard Cooper out there to prove a point that he should be on a Superbike full time. You've got people like John Hopkins, hasn't signed that I know of yet. It hasn't been released. He's got to prove himself. There's some rumours that he's off to America. I don't know. But there's a lot of riders, and it's the last race of the year, that have a lot to prove. Kyle Ryde comes back into the championship.
I was just going to mention, actually. Yeah.
There is no pressure on him. So how well will he go? If it rains, will he be a surprise in the top 10? There's so many riders that could take points off the top 6 and really have a massive effect on the outcome of this championship. Obviously, perfectly, we want dry conditions and a head-to-head race with 4 or 5 cars at the front. But we've seen before. I will give you another example. In 2013, Josh Brooks won all 3 races. Now, that looks a lot more dominant than actually what it was. In the first race, and this is the only example I will give of this year, but in the first race, Josh Brooks was nowhere, but he chose the right tyres, and it actually meant that he was well in with a shout come the end of the race, and he usurped Lee Costello of Bolton and the Helsel Bike and Gear Kawasaki out of the lead with about half a lap to go, or a lap to go. So it really is not over until you have crossed the checkered flag. Anything can happen. Don't consider it wet at the start or dry at the start. Conditions can change. If it goes wet halfway through a race stop, the race has to be stopped, and then you get your wet weather specialists come through, and it can just throw a huge curveball out there. It's a lottery. It really is a lottery.
So,
but, of course, Superbikes is not the only championship to be decided this weekend, excuse me.
Yeah, something that's it takes your breath away, Kiko, to talk about. But yeah, there's I wanted to mention as well, maybe what you're getting on to mention as well, and I think we talked about it earlier briefly, but I think you did actually in the news. But yeah, Jenny Tinmouth making a welcome return to the paddock on track in I think Super Sport.
Super Sport, that's right. She will be there. I'm not so sure what she's riding at all, but I believe it might be her own machine, her own engine machine, which did a great tweet out yesterday confirming it. She will be on the grid. Someone else who will be on the grid is Fraser Rogers. He's found a ride somewhere. We don't know where. I'm just literally digging now to find out where Fraser might end up. I will be talking to him anyway throughout the weekend. So we will find some news out there as well.
Well, just talking about while you find about Fraser, the comments have remained flooding in. Thank you, if that's the word. Scott Stone tuned in. Hello, Scott. Welcome to the Superbike Show and Motorsport Radio. He says he hopes Jenny goes well, he said. And Simon Hall chipped in again and asked you, Kiko, what's your take on Jenny Tinmouth in Supersport this weekend?
I think it's brilliant. Supersport needs riders. We've been saying it in the show, in fact. So yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great to see how she goes. She's a good little Supersport rider as well. Obviously, never quite managed it in British Superbikes, but nonetheless, very good on the Supersport bike. But I believe the bigger talking point this weekend, apart from all the riders coming in and doing whatever, is the championship. Because Keith Farmer although some people believe he won it last time out at Assen, didn't win it last time out at Assen. And as you can see there, Keith Farmer leads Andrew Irwin by 43 points. That means if he finishes ahead of Andrew Irwin, he is champion. The gap is 43, so that means that it has to come down 18, 19. Basically, Farmer, if he is... I'll just do some quick mental math.
Have you got your calculator out?
No, I think if he is 10th or higher, that gets him the championship. No matter what, or 9th or higher, or something like that. Andrew Irwin has to win. Andrew Irwin hasn't won all year. So not to say he can't do it. Ben Curry is the man in form, and he can still take his teammate there, the third place man, number 61 there. He can take Andrew Irwin out of that second place. Can't win the title, but he's been so good of late. He really has. Knocked off, of course, in Assen, which is the reason why Keith Farmer was effectively disqualified out of the race results. David Allingham fourth. He's come back. When Taron McKenzie left the championship after 3 rounds, we all thought it would be David Allingham's to lose, and it hasn't been. David Allingham hasn't shown too much up the front since. And Jack Kennedy. That 5th place does not do him justice at all. It really doesn't. He has, quite honestly, been one of the standout performances, and it just all started to go wrong when I actually spoke to his team boss, Dave Tyson, at Cadwell Park. So when I do talk to Dave over the weekend, because I will be, I've arranged it already, my first thing will be to apologise for all the bad luck I seem to be bringing him. But Jack Kennedy was second in the championship for some time, and just at the last few rounds, it's all gone wrong for him, which is really unfortunate.
Oh, you didn't wish him luck, did you? Or say it was barring an act of God, he'll do X, Y, or Z.
I never say anything like that.
No. Sorry, Ollie Walker. Still, we've been apologising to him all season.
Yeah, I don't think he's accepted it.
Anyway, the Super Sport standings for you then. Is it has Keith already got 1.5 hands on that title? Is it pretty much a foregone conclusion?
He's got a full hand, 4.5 digits, and maybe a half a nail on that championship.
So he'd have to do something spectacularly.
He's going to talk Andy Irwin taking a double victory, which could happen, and Keith Farmer just having the worst possible luck. It would be the biggest injustice, I think, in the recent history of British motorcycle racing if Keith Farmer was to get second in this championship. That would just be so undeserved. I think it's all wrapped up. He's in a very good team, the McAdams Appleyard team, very good. As is Andrew Irwin, Gearlink are a very good team, and they have run at the front very often in the past. It's not over, but I am expecting come Saturday the championship to be wrapped up and to be talking to Keith Farmer, asking him about how it feels to be the first rider to win Stock 1000 title, Stock 600 title, and Super Sport 600 title. Can't wait.
Fantastic stuff, yeah. And if you can grab an interview as well for maybe next week's sort of wrap up Superbike show, that'll be good as well. But who knows? I don't know. Just it's a shame that I can't be there this weekend because I'm actually elsewhere doing other things. And I'm going to Donington this weekend. So there's some car stuff there. Yeah. But Donington still. I mean, you can't. No one's ever sad when they go to Donington, are they?
True. So, yeah, he's a very, very good point.
Yeah, so I'll be there, and if I wasn't there, which I am, I would definitely be at Brands Hatch. And unfortunately, all the commitments that I've had this year have unfortunately landed on BSB weekends.
That's such a coincidence, isn't it?
It actually is, because I did want to get to most of the season, but just not happened. I know it is a shame. But yeah, so yeah, Super Sport. We're kind of giving. I don't want to. No, let's not jinx it. Let's just say good luck, Keith, and just back away.
Yes, and Andrew Irwin. Britain loves a dog, so there's going to be support for both.
Exactly. Any other Super Sport news or stuff that we need to know?
Not so much. Joe France, like I say, is coming back, but there is not too much coming out of the Supersport paddock at the moment, but that's what weekends are for. We're doing a little bit of research, finding out who's going where and what's going on with each team. Lots of rumours around the paddock, obviously, that some teams are pulling out and some teams are going back in and all this and all that, and who knows? Who knows? It'd be great to see it from a fan's point of view. The Suzuki's come back full-time. You know, we have really got 4 winning manufacturers this year. Kawasaki, Yamaha, MV and Suzuki, because Emily Latte won at Aston. So it'd be great to see that team expand to 2 bikes, because they are good bikes. So yeah, it'd be very, very interesting to see what goes on there. And hopefully Emily Latte will stay in the championship.
And we've had a comment come in as well from Darren McClelland as well. Hello, Darren. Thank you very much for tuning in to us live on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. Hello. He asks, what time is MotoGP on at the weekend? Good question, because I need to set my Sky Plus for this, don't I? Because I'm probably...
Other fans are available.
Yeah, but Sky Plus. MotoGP Quali. I'm literally just flicking through the Sky Planner now. MotoGP Quali is at 4 a.m. on BT Sport 2.
Yep.
And the actual coverage, Moto 3 starts off at 2:30 in the morning. If you want to, this is why I'm recording it. See, there's no.
The races start. The races start. The Moto 3 races at 3 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yeah.
The Moto 2 races at 4:20 Sunday morning, and the MotoGP races at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Effectively, get up 10 minutes before, wake yourself up with a cup of Darjeeling, sit down, front of the telly, black pudding on one side, BT remote on the other, and get watching. That's your perfect build-up.
Exactly. And regarding the, I don't know the BSB coverage, but yeah, it's on during the daytime on your...
Yeah, it's actually big news for British Superbikes, and I only learned this yesterday. It's on Quest, so do not feel like you cannot watch the showdown. It's going to be
both.
It's on both. It's on Eurosport and it's on Quest. Absolutely tune in. If not, get trackside. Tickets start from £34 on the gate on Sunday. Get yourself to Brands Hatch. You are going to be witnessing history no matter what happens.
Good history as well.
Because if Josh Brooks wins the title, he will be the first ever Australian to win 2, and it will be the biggest party I can imagine in Britain if the Anvil team win. Shane Byrne will be the oldest British Superbike champion since the championship was reformed in 1996, and it will be the first time he's retained the championship, and it'll be the first time in 15 years that Ducati have retained the championship. If Leon Haslam wins, it'll be the first time he ever won, and it'll be the first time that Pete Extant has ever won a championship, and it'll be the first time since 2014 that Kawasaki have won the championship. So more statistics there. If Jake Dixon wins, that'll be the most remarkable story ever.
And you'll go ballistic.
Well, that'll be the biggest party in this house tonight, I'll tell you now. If Peter Hickman wins, again, you are going to be witnessing history no matter what.
Fantastic stuff. If you are still tuned in to us, well done and thank you. And we want to know who you are supporting, who you are cheering on this weekend. Who do you want to do well, pick up a win, get a podium, take the title, either in BSB or in the supporter categories? Let us know and tell us why as well.
Daily reminder that if we have a Bradley Ray victory or a Jason O'Halloran victory or John Hopkins winning or Lee Jackson or Tommy Bridle or Jakob Smertz or Michael Laverty, it will be the first time ever the British Superbikes has had more than 10 wins. We are on 10 winners now. If we have another one, it will be a record breaker. 11 winners in a year.
Yeah.
Never happened before. The last time, and I keep saying the statistic, the last time that we had 10 in a year was 1998. Name them. I say it every week and I'm still waiting for an answer. I know who they are. James Hayden, interestingly, did not.
Oh, well, are you going to tell us?
I'm going to let someone else tell us.
Well, nobody told us, so why don't you tell us?
No, yes, we will...
maybe in the next show.
We will wait here. Nice to see Stuart Everard's reminding me to bring the black pudding. Don't worry, Stuart. It is already bought. It is in perfect condition.
Meaning he's not yet at it.
Well, it's halfway through being cooked, actually. No, it's not really. No, black pudding, bang on. What more do you want to round out your British Superbike season?
Yeah, the official black pudding provider of BSB is Kiko Alexander-Giles. And, he can be usually seen with a long raincoat, offering random people around the paddock a bit of black pudding. Do you want some black pudding? A bit of black pudding. Only the best.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on. That's generally what times things are on when you're awake, and that's to say that they won't be on when you're asleep, because you'll be asleep. The other support categories that we've got to look forward to this weekend in BSB.
More titles to be decided. We have the Stock 1000 Championship, which is currently being led by Danny Buchan, the ex-Superbike podium finisher. Has got a 15-point lead in the championship over Richard Cooper. Danny Buchan had a little trial out on the FS3 bike at Assen in Superbikes. Wasn't massively successful. They were just plagued by issues all weekend, and crashed it in race 1. Didn't get the bike fixed for race 2. Richard Cooper, interestingly, is in the Superbike class as well this weekend, replacing Taylor McKenzie. So he has to be careful not to injure himself. Danny Buchan needs to finish 5th or better to win the championship, no matter what Richard Cooper does. Obviously, if Danny Buchan then goes and crashes or finishes 8th and Richard Cooper wins, it goes to Richard Cooper. Those two are the only two that can win it. They are miles ahead of the next rider, which is Michael Rutter, who is on 225 points, as you can see there. Then it's the sensation that is Chrissy Rouse. There's been plenty of colour and movement in the Stock Thousands this year. Him and his Mission Racing team are very safe and secure fourth. They will be fourth no matter what. And in 5th place there, as you can see, Mason Law, race winner this year. Mason Law, great year for him and the South Connect Academy team run by Brent Gladwin. So that's your top 5, but the battle really is on between Danny Buchan and Richard Cooper.
Fantastic stuff. And any predictions for the Stock 1000? Do you think?
I believe it will be Danny Buchan's title. He has won it before. He has had a great year. Hasn't dominated as such, but he has had a fantastic season. Therefore, I can only imagine that Danny Buchan will take another solid result this weekend. He will not need a win. He will need a podium. He needs a top 5, like we say, no matter what happens with Richard Cooper. I think all in all, Danny Buchan has it more or less wrapped up. Which could, like we say, those things can change and things can conspire that, there is more chance for Richard Cooper maybe at some point this weekend. But I know Steve Buckingham is expecting Danny to take the title. That is the team owner of Morello Kawasaki. We'll be catching up with him quite a lot throughout the weekend. And hopefully, from the end of the weekend, I will have some news for you to break next week on the show.
Go on, what is it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I hopefully will have some.
About what, though?
Riding lineup and things like that, really.
And things like that. Okay.
Yeah, riding lineup.
So give us an idea of which particular team will be.
Well, I'll tell you, we're looking at Josh Elliott, the ex-Stock 1000 champion for Morello. They're looking at him definitely, and there's a few other riders. Like we say, Steve Buckingham's testing the whole of Volvo at the moment, and Volkswagen actually. So, that's how much testing they've got to do and have been doing. But that's what you call a proper Stock 1000 team. They really do test their bikes and always on the dyno, always being updated and looked after very well. Great team. And hopefully I will be seeing quite a bit of them throughout the weekend, like I say, gathering news and finding out what their plans are for 2018.
Simon Hall has chipped in again, is still with us. Thank you very much, Simon, and you're more than welcome to tune in again. He says he hopes the Cooperman is going with the old school livery, like in Essen.
Very nice livery. You could smell the 1970s when you looked at that. That's what a Suzuki should be. Although I can't knock the current Suzuki livery. It does look a little bit more striking than what it did at the start of the year. A little bit more red on it for Bennett.
And Peter Backhurst has kind of agreed with what we've all said, and has said that this is going to be a nail-biting weekend.
Really is. I must give a very special shout out actually to Peter. He is now the British. We use him quite a lot at the Picker Online for our British Superbike images. Go and check them out. Give Peter a direct message. They really are top class images, and hopefully, surely we'll be catching up with him over the weekend and talking more about images and whatnot. And hopefully he's staying safe and he's got a new lens cover, because I think he went to a quad bike thing or motocross festival and a stone went flying through. Good job he had that lens cover on, because I think it saved him quite a few pounds on only a broken lens and not a lens cover, not a broken lens itself.
Blimey. Okay. And moving on swiftly, because I just realised that we're actually hit 2 hours. Amazingly, even though it feels like we've not really talked about much. But other support categories in BSB to look forward to this weekend.
Yes, the Stock 600 class, I believe, is all wrapped up, actually. So apart from that, as you can see, Dan Stamper with 177 points. Jordan Gilbert is second. As you can see there, he cannot win the championship, although Brad Jones can take that second place off him, as can Tom Oliver, as can George Stanley. So the battle for second is absolutely raging, but Dan Stamper is your overall winner of that category, and it's been a great year from Dan Stamper too. What that graphic doesn't show us is the progression from Ryan Vickers. He has had a stunner of a year this year, and I think he's 7th or 8th in the championship. I believe he's somewhere in the top 10. He's come really good. A podium at Silverstone and what should have been a podium on the road at Alton Park. They resume action this weekend for their last race, and it promises again to be another thriller. The Stock 600s have really delivered this year. And then I believe there's the Motorstar Championship, which is all wrapped up anyway, because we have, is it Tom Boudin on the top? Yes, there you are. Jake Archer is second. Those two city lifting boys are way out in front. Then you've got Storm Stacey, Richard Kerr, and Eugene McManus. That is a battle. There is a battle on for third between Storm Stacey and Richard Kerr. And if Eugene McManus does win and Richard Kerr doesn't score, they will be level on points come the end of the year. So it's mainly a battle for third in that championship. But it promises to be great racing nonetheless. Tom Bidamus has absolutely smashed it this year, well out of the ballpark. Fantastic season. That's why he's been scouted for a Moto3 ride. Probably not next year, but he's definitely on Dorna's wish list. He had a test with the Platinum Bay KTM team over at Aragon on the Monday after the race.
There's lots to look forward to as well. Are they sidecars back this weekend?
Haven't looked at that actually. I would have thought so. As for the Ducatis too, they should be back too, and the KTM Santander Consumer Finance Cup will also be in action as well. So lots of racing to look forward to. As we've said before, it is so affordable, British Superbikes. I mean, I know you can't get online tickets now, but if you was to go on race day, it's £34 on the gate. So that actually works out. So you've got 12 hours of racing. 34 divided by it's about £4 an hour, I'd say. £4 an hour? No, it's not even that. It's about £3 an hour. £3 an hour. You can't get entertainment for that anywhere else. You buy a burger, or a Lebanese wrap was there last time I was there. Lebanese wrap. Very, very nice as well.
Didn't you go to Lebanon on holiday?
I did. But
because of the wrap?
No, it was already booked.
Yeah.
No, but lots of great food at Brands Hatch, and it's going to be a great day, so make sure you get there.
Certainly, yes. Brands Hatch. Some people may be in two minds about whether it's a good thing that we're going there 3 times again next year. But let us know what you think. If you're listening to us and not live, if you downloaded this as a podcast or listening to us while we're off air or tuned into us, then let us know, because you know it's always good to read comments, I suppose, and get your views on things. We do read all the comments, by the way, even the bad ones, which we've not had that many of. I'm sorry.
No, we have been good this week. It's because you don't swear.
Or you never mentioned Brexit. Oops. There we go. Yeah, that was a. Yeah, no, I've just reminded myself actually. There was a lot of talk mentioned regarding. Now you may have already heard about this. The European Commission's VNUC proposal, which I think legislates for every vehicle of every type, anything with an engine, basically, to have like third-party insurance. I don't know all the. I don't want to go into the weeds of the details of it because I don't know everything about it, but in the car racing community there was a lot of panic made about it recently, threatening basically that it could signal the end of all motorsport all over Europe. Now obviously that's a ludicrous prospect, but on paper it really could.
This is every reason why we do not need the EU, I'm afraid.
Oh, here we go. Set him off.
Sorry. Why do we need Europe to become a massive Switzerland? That's boring. I'm sorry, but we have motorsport.
I see.
Like it or lump it. And to be fair, we'll just go to Thailand and China and Vietnam and Cambodia and Russia. We'll just go to all the other countries because, believe it or not, there is actually more countries outside of Europe than what there is in Europe.
I do know of people who had this issue in mind when they voted Brexit.
Well, this is another one. The government's proposal, Lester, about by 2040 there will be no more diesel cars or no more petrol cars on the way. Ludicrous idea. Silly.
Anyway.
Motorsport tourism. Yeah, that is a thing. People actually do come to the country to watch bike racing.
Yeah, they do. Just like we go to Assen.
Just like I go to Misano.
Yeah, and never come back.
Get waylaid in Holland.
Exactly. And nothing else.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, let us know where you stand on the EU. And Peter Backhurst has been on final comment of the show. Says, please don't push my buttons. We don't need the EU. He says, echoing what Kiko says. And I finally did it. I managed to have a Brexit conversation, which was actually relevant to motorsport.
Yeah.
So yes, well done me. But that's it for the show tonight. And are we all wrapped up? Is there anything else that we've neglected to mention, Kiko?
Quick mention, I think we did it last week anyway, but the circuit in Northern Ireland going ahead.
Yeah.
They have actually got diggers on the circuit now. It's going to be taking place at Lake Torrent. It's old clay pit in Coal Island in County Tyrone, I believe. So that's going to be amazing for Northern Ireland. It can hold 30,000 people. They're going to do it on a £30 million budget, which is really small, I've got to say, for modern development.
They're not going to do it on that.
But what an achievement that will be for Northern Ireland. If they can get British Superbikes over there, World Superbikes over there, it's going to be a world-class facility. It is going to be really, really busy with the likes of, in British Superbikes, so Glenn Irwin, Michael Laverty, Andy Irwin will come up to the ranks as well, Keith Farmer, and then in World Superbikes you've obviously got Jonathan Ray, who's the hero of Northern Ireland at the moment. So brilliant stuff there from the circuit, the Lake Torrent circuit. Hopefully be ready in 18 months. That's what we're told, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I have. I'm highly sceptical of that being done within the budget. Perhaps what I would do if I was developing a circuit, I'd say, yeah, we get it done with like 2 million. Let's just get it started, and then by the time we've run out of money, we've all like, well, we've already started. We might as well just just finish it, and then they're like, here's some more money then.
Well, I heard you was building the Glossop International Race Facility in Airport.
I did get started, but I did actually run out of money on that. Just like Donington. Oops, sorry. But yeah, no, that was 30 million for a new international circuit. I'd be shocked.
They've done it in Thailand, but I think their currency in Thailand's a little bit more favourable.
Yeah, maybe they did it with whatever the currency is there. They calculated it that way. But yeah, it's amazing what £1 billion can do for the local economy.
It is. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that literally is it.
It is it, yeah.
So for the show, thank you very much for tuning in. If this has been your first experience of Motorsport Radio, welcome. Do join up to our website, motorsport.radio. Yes, we are one of the only, for now anyway, websites in the world with a .radio domain, which is something I'm nerdishly proud of for the time being, till everyone else gets one, and then I'll be like, I'm not special. But yeah, join up to motorsport.radio, and also follow Kiko Alexander Giles from the Pit Crew online, and other social media accounts. Where can people follow you as well, Kiko?
Mainly at MotoGP Kiko, but the website I write for is at the Pit Crew _online. So really do go and check them guys out. Full of British Superbike content at the moment. And MotoGP World Superbikes will be back next weekend, so we'll be full of that as well. Really is lots of bike stuff coming out there, and I must thank Elliot York and Ed Hocknell for their input as well, because without them I would not be able to manage all of it in such depth anyway.
Fantastic. And yes, check the Pit Crew online out, and as well the Motorbike Daily Facebook page as well. Fantastic page with lots of fantastic updates about various bike stuff and motorsport stuff, and also Kiko's MCE British Superbike Facebook group out, the unofficial Facebook group, with lots of controversial opinions, which Kiko, I think, just about manages to keep keep the lid on by adminning it solely, I think. Do you do it all by your own? Well done. I know what it's like to admin such a massive group of passionate people. So well done for that, and yeah, we'll be back next week to pick apart everything that happened at Brands Hatch,
and we'll be able to tell you who's champion. Yeah,
because you should also know, you should all know anyway by then. But we'll tell you what we thought about it, and we invite you to get your comments in as well. Whether you thought it was the right call by race direction, or do you think it was the wrong thing, and who did what, and who's celebrating and who's crying into their beer at Brands Hatch on Sunday night. Let us know in the meantime. But have a great, fantastic final at Brands, if you are going, like you are, Kiko. And yeah, if just have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, and goodbye.
Good night.
Now. This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com.